Welcome to another episode.
You know what I do when I wake up in the morning?
What?
I always hope it's podcast day.
Right.
But today's podcast day.
I know. I'm in a good mood
Cheers.
today. Cheers.
Hey, apple juice for everybody.
Juice for everybody today.
Everybody gets apple juice.
So, podcast days are always really fun days.
They are fun.
We get to just reflect on the week and what we've been up to and share our stories with people.
Yeah.
And, we get to do that on a daily basis, but it's good that we get to do it even on a broader spectrum.
Although it's kind of scary because it's documented, which means that now this can be held against us.
Yeah, right.
In future,
I guess we gotta be careful with what we say.
Say really nice thing. I love my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that.
I think that's what a lot of people forget about sometimes when you're on social media. Keep it to kids and family vacations sometimes. It's like, that's what people want to see. Mm-hmm. We want to feel good about people's lives. And you want there to be a certain level of jealousy, right?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, perception's everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the perception about us is that, we have like Rolls Royces, we're wearing our Cartier watches, we're drinking Cristal every night.
Cristal.
Right?
All we get is apple juice.
That's all we get. So we did encounter some funny stuff this week. And so Glenn and I, we've worked together for a long time. And we have a term that we're probably going to have to trademark it, to be honest with you.
I think so. I think we invented it.
We did.
And I've never heard anyone else talk about it.
Yeah. So it's a real estate thing, but it's funny.
It's very real estate.
So go ahead, you drop the bomb.
Okay. So what we've invented, a term is called the backwards buyer.
Yes, the backwards buyer.
And so what that is when people have to sell a home to buy a home, it's a contingent buyer. And that's what we call them in the business. You're a contingent buyer.
Yep.
And you're trading up, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. But what some people do is they get so scared they're going to lose out on their home, which is a very legitimate concern.
Nowhere to live.
Yeah.
Where will I live?
Well, I mean, we're very sympathetic to that. But at some point, it comes so extreme that they want to have their next home already negotiated and locked up before even getting their primary on the market.
Yeah, or even photos or anything.
And so that puts an incredible pressure on the buyer, the seller, and us as agents.
Now, we're not making fun of you people out there who look at it that way. We get it. It is a little bit scary to think about.
Where am I going to live? What am I going to do with the kids?
Yeah, exactly.
We have kids. We understand.
We get it. But we're gonna do a little role play here, I think, is what we're going to do, okay? Yeah. I'll be the seller. Mm-hmm. And you be the buyer. Okay. And let's pretend there's no agent. Because really, at the end of the day, the agents are just the people that make the communication. But it's really the buyer buying from the seller, right? So I'll be the seller, you be the buyer, we'll role play.
It's like we're a couple neighbors.
Okay. Hey, Glenn, I've got this awesome house for sale right down the street from you. And I know you've been looking for a pool. And mine has a pool. And cool. It's for sale for $700,000.
That's a great deal. I already loved it. I qualified for $700,000.
Yeah.
I definitely want a pool.
Yeah.
It's in the neighborhood I'm looking in.
Awesome.
That's great.
Would you like to buy my house?
I would love to buy your house.
Oh my God, this is fantastic. This is the best thing ever. So I've already got my buyer set. This is great.
That's great.
So can you close in 30 days?
No.
Oh, why? What's going on?
Well, I kind of have to sell the house I'm in now to buy your house.
Oh, so you already have it for sale then?
No, I don't have it for sale now.
Oh, So what's I don't understand. So what you're saying to me is that
my house is very awesome.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to sell right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what you're asking me to do basically is take my house off the market.
Yep.
And commit to you, even though you haven't marketed your house.
Correct. You
haven't tried to sell your house. You don't have it in escrow, and then I just have to hope that once it's in escrow, it gets through escrow. And then in how many days am I waiting?
Depends on the buyer. But I can guarantee you the buyer we get, he's going to be the best buyer ever. He's going to get all the timelines. He's not going to drag their feet at all. Yeah. We're going to make sure we get a really good buyer.
So in the meantime, I just take my house off the market.
Yeah.
Nobody else can buy it.
Right. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Okay. So now as you can see from our role playing, there's a lot of sarcasm here, but clearly that's not an attractive thing for a seller. So a backwards buyer has no leverage. That's the point we're trying to make. If you're trying to go out and buy a house or upgrade to a better house, like in Glenn's case, you need to have your house marketed, minimum, and on the market. at best, it's already sold, or at least in escrow. That gives you more leverage with the seller, because then
Yeah.
the seller knows that.
Or if the buyer has cleared contingencies,
Yeah.
you've cleared the big three contingencies for the most part. Appraisal, inspection, and you have your loan. Even just having those three done, which is most of them in most real estate. I mean, of course, there's title and HOA fees if we're dealing with a condo or a townhome or something like that. But that puts you in a much better negotiating spot.
Yeah, agreed. So, people who are out there, if you want to upgrade or find a house and you currently own one, you need to actually, but you need to put your house on the market. I mean, that's the end of the day.
I mean, no buyer is really going to take you that seriously.
No.
And especially in San Diego and what we're seeing, there's already multiple offers on homes.
Exactly. How can you compete with somebody who's willing to close in 21 days or 30 days? And you literally haven't even done pictures.
Yeah.
You haven't taken one step to get your house marketed. How can a seller commit their property to you at that point? It's ridiculous. I mean, even that dog. Did you hear that dog?
Yeah.
That dog agreed with me when I said that.
I think it did.
Yeah.
That was a bark of support.
Bark of support.
I like it.
I think we just coined another term.
Oh my god, that's great.
So I will say though, I'll bring it back around in the fact that even if you are a backwards buyer, we're here to help you. We can cure you.
We will not
this backwards buyerness.
We will not shame you.
We will not.
We will point you in the correct direction. Right. So you're able to move beyond the backward buyersness that you're in.
Exactly.
Right.
We have a system in place where we can make you happy and get you the home you like.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty
So what are
easy.
some of the solutions for those scared out there would be a rent back. Explain what a rent back would be.
Right. So rent back is you're going to rent your home from your new buyers. And we can negotiate that before we even open escrow.
Right.
So now you have the 30 days while we're in escrow to start the search going, and your market and your home will already be on the MLS and being marketed. Of course, there's a form we fill out, the COP, the contingency form for your purchase, and the sellers agree to that right off the top, and so they already give you 17 days to find your home. But also what we could do is once we clear all that and we go through escrow and we found the place and we're in escrow with that, and you're closing one and you have to move into another, so there's going to be a time delay, especially if you want to do a couple upgrades in there. There might be even a bigger time delay, so then you bring in your rent back.
Yep.
And then for 1 month you can rent your home back from the new buyer.
Oh my gosh, you're renting your own house. How could it be?
Right. But you also own your new house.
Exactly.
So it affords you time, and that's what you need.
So that's the workaround, folks, is that you take your money, you bank it, so people look at you legitimately, like this is a great buyer, they can jump, they can close quick, and then you just rent your house back. It's not the end of the world.
Did you say bank your money? You know what we need?
Bank it.
We need that money oil from Brooke we had.
Or like a ka-ching
ka-ching, yeah. We'll take the money oil. We're gonna put it on the bottom of your feet, which we learned was the best way to do it. And then it will cure you of your backward buyersness and put money in your bank directly.
I've thought about it because I like peanut butter, so I put peanut butter on the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the best way to get things in your bloodstream, so why not just put everything on the bottom of your feet? Like, why? I mean, I should be drinking my apple juice through my feet. Why not? At that point, right?
Dude, I was soaking my feet in some apple juice and
I
got lit.
I was feeling so good. So we had a guest scheduled. What we found out is that we're not as popular as we thought we were. Because our guests...
Maybe in our own brains we're uber popular, and I'm good with that.
Our guests didn't show up. So, we're going to talk about nutrition today.
Well, before we go into all that...
Go ahead.
Because we're having this just week of clarity.
Yeah.
We also came up with another form. A brand
I thought you were
form.
I thought you were gonna hold this back for the end, like a big crescendo at the end, to really knock people out.
I'm really excited about this.
Okay, go.
Because we've been in real estate for a long time, and I don't think anyone has ever done this before.
Yeah.
And I invented a real estate form from scratch in my brain in the shower the other day. It's called the buyer's multiple counter form. Sellers have multiple counters.
It's a great idea.
But buyers don't. And why is that? So let me take you through a scenario.
Go ahead.
And I think just being in the business for years is really, it's led to this moment.
Yeah.
Right? So I have a buyer. They're a relo. They're very motivated.
I'll pretend I'm the seller and you're representing the buyer.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a buyer.
Hey, Glenn, I have this great house for sale for $500,000.
Perfect. You know what? I have a client. He's super motivated. He's transferring from the East Coast, We need to lock up a place this weekend.
Okay.
Because he has a big job transfer at SCSU.
But, Glenn, I really don't want to really look at offers for a few days because I want to make sure that I get all the offers in I need.
I hear where you're coming from. We're going to submit your offer. You're going to sit on it for a week.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But we gave you everything you want.
I know, but I want to wait. Just why not? I mean, come on. Maybe something better will come.
Okay, something better might come.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the meantime, so you know,
yeah,
I'm going to show my buyer other places because he's well qualified, super motivated, and needs to find a place this weekend.
So is that so? So tell me how the form works.
So let's fast forward a few days.
Good.
You don't get anything better,
right?
Or maybe you do get other offers, but nothing better.
Yeah.
You then come back to my buyer.
Right.
Hey, guess what? You were the best offer after I, had 5 of them, and you counter us.
Right.
And so at that point, the buyer could say, well, since you put me on ice for 4 days, while I was waiting for you, I wrote offers on these other homes, other home that I really like.
Which makes sense.
So I have plan A and plan B, like most people do.
Yep.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to buyer multiple counter back you, Mr. Seller, because you made me
I'm so
wait.
scared.
You made me wait.
So I might lose you.
Now you might lose.
Oh, no.
My well-qualified, very motivated buyer who gave you all the things you wanted.
Yeah, well, I like it. I like it a lot.
It's,
Buyer, multiple counter form.
Buyer, multiple counter. It
Watch
could work.
out.
It can work just that easily.
California Association of Realtors were coming after you. I think one of the best things we could just talk about is our nutrition, because we want to talk about nutrition, right? I'll share some of the things I've learned about me. The caveat to this whole thing is that we realize everybody's different, okay?
Right.
So not everybody can be a vegan, for example. Not everybody can be a carnivore. Not everybody likes milk, right? Some people you love. So what I'm talking about is just my personal experience.
Yeah, what do you like?
I've learned through the years that I prefer to not eat gluten when possible.
Okay.
So I try to be gluten-free. With that being said, if I'm at a restaurant and there's a great lasagna, I'm not going to be like, is that gluten-free? I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to eat the garlic bread and all that stuff. But on a day-to-day basis, like I buy gluten-free pasta, for example. I try to buy as much stuff that's organic. I try to look for things that have limited ingredients, so I know, like, hey, this thing has 4 ingredients and not 17, and 3 of them are chemicals. I eat a lot of... I tend to do more high protein, high fiber, and then low carb diet. That's sort of the sweet spot I like to be in. Now, with that being said, I cheat all the time. Like, I eat pizza all the time. It's great. Pizza's fantastic.
Pizza is fantastic.
Yeah. Tangent. We'll get back to you, but tangent on pizza. We're going to go here and go there. Okay.
What's your tangent on pizza?
Yeah. So what's your favorite kind of pizza and why? And then I'll tell you what mine is.
Oh, my goodness.
Like style. You know what I mean?
So, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be honest. We just went to Chicago, me and my wife, a little while ago. Mm-hmm. The pizza I'm just loving the most is the thin crust cheese pizza from Lou Malnati's in Chicago.
No lies.
It is so
Lou,
good.
thanks for the sponsorship. You're welcome for that plug.
Lou is our new sponsor, by the way.
Yeah.
And we should have pizzas like all over the place
The
next
Lou.
time. Good old Lou.
Lou.
Yes. So, going back to your question, thin crust cheese pizza, it sounds boring. I guess it is kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I love that. I just love the thin crust. I love the cheese. Now, I'll add to it. If I had to pick a pizza with toppings I really like, it's tomato and bacon. I love tomato and bacon. So good.
So it's like a BLT on a pizza.
Oh yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
And if the sauce is good,
it
just melts in your mouth.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think for me, I definitely like the New York thin crust.
Yeah.
Pizza like Bronx Pizza here in San Diego. Shout out to you guys. You guys make freaking kick-ass pizza.
Look at all these pizza sponsors.
Yeah. And Pizzo's, as we talked about, Pizzo's great pizza over in San Miguel Ranch, right?
Yeah.
So more thin crust, crispy. You fold it in half, kind of thing, and big triangular slices. Definitely red sauce. I'm not a white sauce or a olive oil guy. Like I need red sauce.
Yeah,
I need it. And my favorite one would be pepperoni mushroom.
Really?
Yeah, simple. Pepperoni mushroom.
It is simple. You know what? I like mushrooms. I just don't like them on pizza for whatever reason. I'm on the minority on that one, I think.
Right. All right, so let's get back to nutrition now. So I kind of talked about my stuff. You talk about kind of how you approach nutrition.
That's obviously your cheat day. We figured out what your cheat day is.
I like my cheat day. Sure, it's great. Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just try to eat real food.
Mm-hmm.
Just healthy, real food is kind of really the only stipulation I put on myself. And of course, I cut out all processed foods. I try to cut out most fast foods. I'm very proud to say I haven't had McDonald's in like 2 years.
That's amazing, actually, by the way. Bravo.
You know how many times
Because I do once in a while. I go through the drive-thru and I'm just
so
like,
easy to
hey,
do.
can I have a small thing of fries? Like literally, I get fries and a cup of water. I do it a few times a year.
Right.
And the fries are delicious. But there's nothing. No offense to you, McDonald's. McDonald's is not a sponsor, so we don't need to worry about that.
Right.
No offense, McDonald's. You have like pretty shitty food. So, but the fries are freaking awesome. Come on.
Their fries are like crack, right? They're so addicting. I get it,
but anyway,
I wrote it off, and so
embellish, please.
The downside is now I just eat more Mexican food. But whatever, that's another day. That's my cheat day. It's California burritos,
right?
But back to nutrition. I'm more of a paleo guy, really.
Yeah.
So I like my meats,
right?
Fish, veggies, whole foods. I don't eat as much carbs, although I will have carbs, especially if I have a certain workout coming up or a certain event I'm going to do. Then I'll carb load for that because there's nothing like having your carbs ready available to you.
Yeah, sure.
When you're running or whatever you might be doing. So I'm definitely more of a paleo guy.
Nice, paleo. So for those who don't know, paleo is
the old paleo
supposed
diet.
to replicate the diet that the cavemen had back in the day, right?
That's right.
They lived off the land. They took down a
bison.
Or a yak or a bison.
They shot a bison with a piece of wood and a stone.
They'd skin it, and they make that a big coat and a tent, and then they'd eat all the meat. And,
hey, nothing goes to waste.
Right? And then they ate like wild grains and leaves off trees, and way to go, cavemen!
Berries, that's like my dream diet.
Yeah, cavemen were pretty cool, man.
Yeah, maybe we should go camping at like Mount Laguna and just live like cavemen. Like we'll get some furs and just run around in furs.
That'd be excellent.
People will be like, "There's these two crazy guys who think they're cavemen.
How funny would that
eating
be?
poison berries in Mount Laguna."
Oh my lord!
We'll be like, "Oh, that's the property guys."
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Oh, that's just the property guys.
I think out of all the things that you can do for yourself, nutrition is one thing that we all have control over. That's the interesting part, right? So you can't always go out and get exercise. Maybe you're too old, right? Or maybe you're tired, or maybe you work a different shift, so you can't really go out and work out because it's midnight or whatever.
Right.
Or you're overweight or whatever. But the point is that you always can choose what you put in your mouth. Right?
Right.
It's interesting. We have control over that.
Here's the thing. It's diet and exercise.
It is both. But I'm saying nutrition, though, you have control over.
In nutrition, and diet is the general term, and then there's nutrition. And, of course, there's a lot of things that fit under that. But,
for sure.
The more I do this, the more I realize is nutrition and diet is 60% of that.
Yeah.
And exercise is 40% of that.
Yeah, agreed. So, agreed.
It's really important what you put in your body.
But I do think, though, that one of the things that we talked about when we put together this particular series of podcasts was, taking control of your own health.
Yeah.
And so we had Brooke Ragsdale on, and
Yep.
she talked about wellness. We had Thomas Padilla on. He talked about fitness.
Yep.
And so we're talking about nutrition. And
both were great. They gave very practical explanations of what they do and some tips moving forward.
Yeah. So I think that the nutrition part fits in everything because it's what fuels us, obviously. And I do believe that like what you put in your body, you get out of your body. So if you put crap in your body is going to turn to crap.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, it's kind of like it's like the old saying my grandma used to say, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
And of course she was talking about TV back in the
information,
day.
Yeah.
And information you put into your brain. If you put bad information in your brain, you spew out bad information.
Right.
But as we're learning about the body, it's also very true about diet. And
so let's tangent there. Let's take a sharp right. Let's talk about information. So in the times that we're in, right, it's being increasingly driven by opinion and media, right?
Right.
And people react to it. So where do you go? Like if you wanted to know something and you didn't have to want to worry about like what somebody's agenda was on the right or left or centric. It doesn't matter. Where would you go? Where do you find that there's fair information out there?
I don't know if I'll answer your question, but I'm going to go on for a little rant.
Go.
So, I don't know if you guys know this.
It's Rant 30.
It's Rant 30. But most people who do know me know I love Bob Dylan. I love the guy. He's a hero of mine. I love his music. I love what he stands for. Right. I love his whole story in life.
Sure.
In many ways, my life has mimicked his life, minus all the awards and Grammys and Nobel Peace Prizes and any other accolade that's out there.
Besides that.
But besides all that,
exactly
we're basically the same person.
Yeah.
But with that being said, he has a very famous quote. And it was in the 60s, which is ominously eerie to what we're experiencing today in today's society.
Totally agree.
And if your point said is, look, if I want to know what's going on in the world today, I'm not going to pick up Time Magazine and read Time Magazine. He's like, I'm going to go to whatever's happening, and I'm going to figure out what's going on myself, and I'll come up with my own opinion on what I think is going on.
By the way, did you hear Daisy agreed with you?
I know. That was a bark of support.
It was a bark of support.
So obviously she thinks I'm Bob Dylan. I mean, that's the only thing I can concur from that. Anyways,
so the point
is what Bob Dylan's trying to say is you have to use critical thinking yourself, gather information yourself from many different sources, internalize it, and come up with your own opinion, right?
Right.
Don't just blindly read something from somebody and say, he's absolutely 100% correct.
Right.
Because we all have biases.
Right.
And those biases come from upbringings and nature and nurture. So it's a very complicated kind of question to answer, I think. And I don't know if I'm answering. Am I
No, you are. I think what you're saying is that
I like rein it all in for me.
I like the thought about critical thinking, and that's one thing that, we all have kids, young kids, and I think that you need to teach your children critical thinking because the world is not taught to be critical of information anymore. Right. They're taught to actually accept it, whether it's on social media or through whatever news source that you decide you want to watch, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that it comes at you, and you're supposed to just absorb it and kind of take it as truth. And critical thinking is sort of getting lost in the mix. There doesn't seem to be like I call it a voice of dissent or a voice of debate, right? So if something becomes uber popular, meaning that everybody's on one side of an issue, very often the truth's usually somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah. Oh, it always is.
Right?
Yeah.
So you sort of have to hear the other side, or at least look at the other side to decide where in the middle you stand. But a lot of people just take one side or the other, and what you end up with is divisiveness. You end up with people who are too extreme. It doesn't even matter what the issue is, just too extreme on both sides, and there's no middle ground for people to unify.
Right.
Right? So critical thinking is what solves these problems. It enables you to find common ground.
Yes.
And that's what I think is getting lost. So.
Well, there's definitely more things in this world that we have in common than we don't have in common. And we're losing sight of that.
Amen. Amen. I think Martin Luther King said that once, by the way. I think that's one of his famous quotes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. You're not Martin Luther King.
I'm definitely
you're
not.
You're not Bob Dylan. You're not Martin Luther King.
I'm not Bob. I'm just Glenn Duyette.
You're Glenn Duyette.
That's all I can be is me.
And I'm Frederick Grant.
The best me.
So we got a little deep there. Let's do one hot take at the end of this thing, so we can send people on their way happy. We got a little deep, man.
Yeah, we really kind of dove in there for a little while.
Right under. We went down the rabbit hole, and my little bunny tail is kind of just oh man, it's kind of rough. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's do one hot take here. So my hot take this week,
what is
in real estate, is that interest rates, if you're below $510,000, I just found on a loan, are so stupid low that it's likely cheaper for you to buy than to rent. That's my hot take this week. How about yours?
That's a good hot take. Here's my hot take. And if you're buying an entry level home in this market right now, put your best foot forward right off the bat nowadays, because you might not get countered and you might not have the ability to negotiate. So just get it all out there. You get one shot to impress the seller, because we're seeing multiple offers on everything,
right,
even in this climate, which is odd. Because everyone thought things were going to take a downturn and slow down. I just have not seen it happening.
Yeah.
That's and then for entry-level stuff, with interest rates being so low, like you're saying, it really is fueling multiple offers.
Yeah.
I've ran into a few cases with buyers where they told me, look, we're only encountered 1 or 2 offers,
Right.
and we have 10.
Right.
Unfortunately, my buyer was on the other side of that equation.
Right.
They did not listen to my opinion, by the way, because we would not have been in that situation if they listened to me.
If you were Bob Dylan or Martin Luther King, I think they would listen to your opinion.
I think they would too.
I think they would.
So my hot take is always listen to me, and, and if you're writing an offer, put your best foot forward in certain cases.
So how you doing on your apple juice?
A touch left.
Yeah, I could use some more. So I think with that being said, I'm Frederick Remick.
Glenn Duye, Bob Dylan.
We're Property Guys, and we'll catch up with you guys next time for another podcast. Thanks for coming by.
Bye, guys.
Bye.